If you ask most people what their number one fear is, what do you think it is? Most people's number one fear is public humiliation, okay?
Mel Gibson is shaking up Hollywood with Sound of Freedom, a bold film exposing the grim reality of child trafficking. This independent project has raked in over $180 million, defying the industry's grip on political correctness. Gibson's fearless stance challenges the narratives that mainstream media often overlooks. Are we ready to confront the uncomfortable truths he's bringing to light?
I don't give a anymore. I'm not afraid of it because I've had plenty. And now it's just time for me to say I'm tough, because what does not kill you makes you strong.
The entertainment industry has this weird, unspoken rule that public humiliation is like the ultimate nightmare for artists and filmmakers. Imagine pouring your heart and soul into a project, only to have it torn apart by critics or social media mobs. It's like being in a constant state of anxiety, where every decision you make is scrutinized and judged by people who often don't even know you. This fear can be paralyzing, making many creatives toe the line instead of taking risks. They worry that if they step out of the box, they might just find themselves in the crosshairs of cancellation culture.
You can't get mad. You can't let it get you, because you have to make a deal with everyone else, and it's almost unspoken that you are going to be over at some point.
Mel Gibson, though, has made it clear that he's had enough of this fear. It's refreshing to see someone who refuses to play by the rules of an industry that often prioritizes political correctness over creativity. Gibson's boldness in speaking out about his frustrations with Hollywood's woke culture shows that he's willing to take a stand, even if it means facing the wrath of the establishment.
Resembles orthodoxy, well then they spring into action, they reprimand him, and they bully him and do their best to cancel him. And it's a symptom of a very deep sickness that afflicts the church.
Gibson's frustrations with Hollywood run deep, especially when it comes to the industry's obsession with political correctness. It's like walking on eggshells all the time, where every word you say can be twisted and thrown back at you. In a lot of his past interviews, Gibson pointed out how this emphasis on political correctness creates a creativity-crushing environment. It's like artists are being forced to fit into a box that doesn't allow for genuine expression. When you start worrying more about being politically correct than telling a good story, something important gets lost in the process.
If anyone's familiar with the missives of Archbishop Vigano, he says that the erosion of the church was sown with the reforms of Vatican II, and I agree with him. And how are we supposed to know the good guys from the bad guys? Well, we were given a standard by which to judge them. By their fruits, you'll know.
He's made a bold comparison, likening Hollywood to a group of priests who shun those with differing beliefs. It's a pretty striking image, right? Think about it. In a place that should celebrate diversity of thought and creativity, there's a whole lot of judgment going on. If you dare to voice an opinion that strays from the mainstream narrative, you're often met with immediate backlash. That kind of atmosphere makes it tough for filmmakers to explore controversial subjects or push boundaries in their storytelling. Instead of being free to create, they often feel like they're just following the herd, worried that stepping out of line will get them excommunicated from the industry.
The fight to end child trafficking is a worldwide movement that requires collective effort and a united front. This is just the beginning. Go see Sound of Freedom.
Sound of Freedom has emerged as a powerful film that tackles the harrowing issue of child trafficking. It's a tough watch, no doubt, but it brings a vital topic to the forefront that Hollywood has largely ignored. The film follows the true story of Tim Ballard, a former government agent who embarks on a mission to rescue children from sex trafficking in Latin America. This is the kind of narrative that shakes you to your core, highlighting a dark reality that many prefer to brush under the rug.
Who are they? Well, they're a pack of men who generally passively sit by and tolerate any kind of nonsense, but
here's where it gets interesting. Hollywood's reluctance to support Sound of Freedom is pretty telling. The film doesn't fit neatly into the politically correct box that studios love to cuddle up in. Instead of jumping on the bandwagon, major studios shied away from it, probably because it challenges the mainstream narrative that they prefer to promote. It's as if they're more concerned about maintaining a polished, safe image than addressing the serious social issues that films like this expose. This avoidance feels especially hypocritical given that Hollywood loves to claim it's all about social justice and representation.
New economic models are emerging, new challenges to the monopoly of entertainment and culture. Whether you agree with their position or presumed position or not, you have to acknowledge this is a significant, maybe even seismic shift in the way that entertainment is made, funded, promoted, and the way it reaches its audience.
The media didn't help matters either. Instead of celebrating a film that addresses a serious issue like child trafficking, many outlets painted Sound of Freedom as a threat to their cherished woke agenda. They seemed to be more concerned with keeping up their politically correct image than engaging with the film's critical message. This kind of portrayal feels like a classic case of shooting the messenger rather than addressing the uncomfortable truths being presented. It's as if Hollywood would rather ignore these hard-hitting narratives than risk upsetting the status quo.
First step in eradicating this crime is awareness.
Gibson's team came up with a pretty smart and unconventional marketing strategy for Sound of Freedom that paid off. Instead of the usual big premiere followed by a nationwide rollout, they opted to release the film in waves across different countries. This was a game changer. By rolling it out gradually, they kept the film in the spotlight longer, creating a sense of anticipation that got people talking. Each release felt like an event, generating buzz and excitement as audiences waited to see when it would land in their region. This approach did wonders for the film's visibility and box office success. By the time it finally hit theaters in various locations, there was already a significant amount of chatter surrounding it. People were curious, and curiosity drove ticket sales. This wave strategy not only helped the film stay relevant in a crowded market, but also allowed it to build momentum organically. The conversations sparked by each release kept the film alive in the media and on social platforms, drawing in audiences who might not have considered watching it otherwise.
It's a big upheaval. I mean, I've never seen Hollywood quite so shaken by anything.
It's a little late.
So we'll see how it all shakes down. Hopefully it clears the air a little bit.
Light has definitely been shone into the dark regions, and it's painful, but it's a necessary thing for change.
What's interesting is how Sound of Freedom flips conventional Hollywood narratives on their head. Instead of following the usual formula of safe, feel-good entertainment, it dives straight into the harsh reality of child trafficking, an issue many in the industry prefer to ignore. By taking on this uncomfortable topic, the film not only opens the door to much-needed conversations, but also proves that there is a substantial audience craving more than the typical fare dished out by major studios.
Actually booed when the credits on your film came up at the beginning of the movie. And I'm saying, like at the beginning of the film when my name came, yeah, they booed. And I said, the credits aren't on the beginning of the film.
Opinions on Mel Gibson swing wildly. Some see him as a groundbreaking filmmaker unafraid to tackle tough topics, while others view him as stuck in the past, clinging to ideas that don't resonate today. This debate intensifies with films like Hacksaw Ridge and Sound of Freedom, which delve into controversial issues and highlight Gibson's divisive approach to filmmaking. However, critics argue his views are outdated and that his methods can alienate viewers. His past controversies complicate perceptions, making it hard for some to separate the artist from the art. This division sparks discussions about his relevance in today's progressive landscape versus being a relic of a bygone era. Gibson's stance on creativity in Hollywood raises crucial questions about the industry. His willingness to tackle controversial topics highlights the ongoing struggle between artistic freedom and political correctness, creating a tug-of-war between safe narratives and authentic storytelling. This tension defines modern filmmaking, with Gibson right in the middle. Should filmmakers freely explore uncomfortable subjects, or hold back to avoid offending anyone? Political correctness can stifle creativity, acting like a straitjacket for artists. As viewers, we need to consider whether we support a system encouraging open dialogue or contribute to a culture that silences dissent and diverse perspectives. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.